Back from the dead.
Hey Creep Fam, it's your girl Monica. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you look number 11 in our 13 Days of Halloween series with a good old zombie. If you would like to see how I created this look, then please keep on watching. But before you do that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are not already. I would also really appreciate it if you liked, shared, and commented on this video if you enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get on with the look. Alright, so to start, I'm going to be wiping off my eye makeup on that I have right now, including my eyebrows. So get that all off, start with a clean slate, and then we're going to be blocking out our brows using a glue stick, putting a good amount on there, using a spoolie to brush the hairs up and flat against my head, and then doing another 5 or so layers of the glue stick on top of that. Once that is all dried down, I'm then taking my color correcting palette and using the dark peach shade in the palette. I'm putting this over my brows to conceal them, and then blending it in with my finger and doing about 2 layers of that. Then we're going to grab some liquid latex, put it in a little bowl or jar, whatever you got, and then we're just going to start placing this in the areas that we want to create our little rips and tears. So you can kind of have creative freedom with this wherever you want to put it. And then for our little nose bit, I'm just taking a little piece of cotton, dipping it in liquid latex, putting that around where I want it on my nose, smoothing out the edges with a spatula and more liquid latex, and then placing a little bit more of that liquid latex on the tip of my nose just for some texture. Once that is all dried down, I'm then grabbing my Skin Alcohol Activated palette and using these 2 light shades in the palette, as well as some of the brown kind of mustardy shades. But starting with the lightest shade, I'm just going through and stippling this all over my face, not creating a super even texture because obviously we want to look decayed and gross. So just stipple this all over your face until it is all lightened up and dead looking. After that, we're then going to go in with our other colors and start just stippling this around wherever we want to go. Again, you have creative freedom with this however you want to do it. I then switched over to using a stippling sponge and dipping into the darker brown shades. I'm placing this all over. Next, I'm taking my SFX palette and using the olive green and mustard shade. I'm putting this on the stippling sponge as well and just placing this all over the skin to create an even more kind of grimy texture and color. We're then taking the sharp end of our spatula to start creating the little rips and tears in our latex that we laid down earlier. To go ahead and do that however you would prefer. You obviously want to just be careful with this as to not hurt yourself or rip off the latex entirely, kind of like I just did here. So if this happens, it's not a big deal. You can just go ahead, rip off the latex that is already on there, and then just start over again by placing another layer of liquid latex down and letting that dry down. So while I'm waiting for mine to dry down, I am moving on to my nose. So I'm just going in with my darker brown shades in my alcohol palette and placing this in through the folds of the nose and everything to start giving it that depth and kind of like my nose kind of is missing, you know what I mean? Then taking various brown eyeshadows and blacks and all that, I'm taking a medium brown shadow to start placing around my eye. So I'm just following the natural socket of my eye and just filling in that whole area with the brown. And then I'm going in with some black eyeshadow and just following this mostly just along the edges. Then don't forget to create more rips in the latex that if you messed up like me, so. We're then going to create some little like foldy, wrinkly eye bag things under the eyes. So I'm actually just using that color correcting palette from the very beginning and just using the peach shade to create these little folds and then setting it with a skin toned eyeshadow. And then also, you know, going back in with the blacks and the browns around just to deepen those areas more.
Aww.
I'm then going and taking some dark brown and black eyeshadows to start defining the brow bone around my little eyeball. So I'm just doing that right here and then also going around the edges on the perimeter, making sure to blend upwards and outwards as well. Next, I'm taking my red alcohol activated paints and putting them inside of our little latex holes here. And also making sure to get around my nose as well. We're then going to start creating some texture around the mouth. So I'm starting off with using a black eyeshadow and just dragging these lines down towards my mouth, blending it out, and then also going back in with my skin alcohol paints to brighten some areas up. And basically just kind of going back and forth, creating these kind of like stretched out, saggy kind of skin texture, all directing towards the mouth. And then detail it however you prefer. I'm then taking some of that red and brown alcohol paints and placing this around my mouth in vertical sections. Then going back in with my stippling sponge and placing more of the lighter skin texture around just to break up some of the dark that's been going on. I'm then doing some more detailing and just putting a little shadow around the fold of my little nose latex piece. And then taking some scab blood, I'm just placing this inside of my festering wounds. Next, I'm taking this bag of fake moths that I found at the craft store and then just kind of figuring out where I want to place them. And once I figure out where I want them to go, I'm placing down some Prozaid to adhere it to my skin and then just kind of flocking some throughout my hair as well. Lastly, we're going to go ahead and take some fake blood, and I'm just using a brush to start applying this going down my mouth and the front of my throat, and just letting that drip down freely to create a more organic movement. Then as a last finishing touch, I'm just kind of flicking the blood with a brush just to create a more of a splatter effect around my mouth and neck. And once you're all done with this, go ahead and throw on the rest of your outfit, put some contacts in, whatever you want to do. And you are done. You are now a zombie. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Like I said, this is look number 11 out of 13, so we have a bunch more on my page already, as well as 2 more incoming, so keep an eye out for those. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Mwah!